His name, Merlin.
Hat. Anywho, what's going on, knights, lords, ladies, sorcerers, enchantresses, and everyone that the whole land of Ambion? My name's still V, you know, like the letter, and welcome back to Merlin Weekly, where we're talking about The Hunter's Heart, where I know a lot of people just kind of be like, V, all these short reviews are kind of not really telling us about the whole story. Da, 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 da. Well, I got you this time with an even longer one with a deeper analysis because we're actually getting to the two-part finale. So let's dive into the whole synopsis, where on the first half we have Arthur trying to make peace with a neighboring kingdom at the cost of marrying the princess from said kingdom, because that's how you do things. You have political marriages to make a stronger union for your kingdom. You know, this kind of stuff you did back when royalty was the end-all be-all thing of all lands everywhere. And then on the other side, we have Guinevere finally coming back into the story to then just be taken by these low-life people that happen to work for Morgana because they're looking for the siege tunnels to then start an entire coup de grace to try and usurp everything inside Camelot to make sure that Morgana is the rightful ruler of all of Ambion's greatest kingdom. You know, all that stupid shit that we've been following up the entire series for. So now it's kind of like a whole thing of, will Arthur marry this princess and become a powerful king of multiple kingdoms at the sake of his own heart's own desires? And will Gwen even try to give the information to Arthur and make sure everything is paved with glory and gold and prosperous intuition for all? And then we dive into the episode. Now, the whole reason I've been kind of tiptoeing around certain episodes, trying to say how the tone has not really been shifted very well, is because it leads into a very mixed bag into how this episode plays out. First and foremost, the actress that plays the princess that actually is infatuated with Arthur, kind of like another actress that came into episodes long ago in a previous few seasons, is Janet I can't pronounce her last name right now. Montgomery, that's it. Or is it Montgomery? Hold on, let me just fact check real quick. Yeah, Montgomery. Montgomery. I can't pronounce your last name, lady. So, Janet Montgomery. She's a very prevalent actress in the whole field before she appeared on Merlin, and even afterwards, where a lot of people know her now primarily from Mary Sibley from the show Salem, which we will be getting into later, I promise. But not yet. Not yet. So, with Mary Sibley basically being the end-all be-all thing as the love interest, it's gonna be an interesting sort of thing. Just so interesting. But it doesn't kind of cement that she is going to be the final wave of how things are going to go for the end game. No, she's just there to give more confusion that has been kind of prevalent ever since the Lancelot de Luc sort of episode, where it was, what do we do now that we split up the main couple? How do we try to deter the plot line even further? And we had hints of that in the episode before The Hunter's Heart, but not that prevalent here, as it's supposed to be the grand cathartic moment for Arthur about what should be his heart's desire, what he should do for his people, and how he should go about things. But he doesn't have a whole nuance to how to get things done, because he has to do things as the king. He has to make sure that he keeps up the appearance, which is where Merlin comes in. Now, he doesn't have a lot of things to do with this episode. He doesn't do any of the stuff with the planning, trying to uncover who the main villain is for the episode, or even how to stop the big bad in the entire thing of the show itself. He's just there to be the buffer to make sure that Arthur doesn't go off the deep end, trying to make sure that he only works as a king instead of as Arthur. As such, it then kind of leads into a small little, I'm going to be mischievous sort of character, kind of like a nod to what he was in the original novelization of the entire Arthurian mythos before they made him the wise archetype that was the mentor figure for Arthur's whole kingdom, which is a nice touch, I will admit. So, if that's the case, what is going on in the background for the Arthur storyline, which was involving the stuff of the siege tunnels from the recap? Well, remember all the episodes of Agravain being the main bad guy, doing all the bad stuff that if you were to watch all the episodes, instead of just seeing me try to just sum it up, kind of like how most people do anyway? Well, Agravain is now put to the final test about trying to do the coup de grace by getting the siege tunnel stuff from the mapmaker's apprentice after murdering him brutally, and then just trying to get inside to get a copy of the tunnels to Morgana, using her own magics, because printing press didn't exist back in the Middle Ages. That was during the Industrial Revolution, but we haven't gotten there yet. So, with that being the case, Agravain is now making his final steps where he can at least still act as a insider mole for Morgana, but he won't have to do the charade much longer. He can murder a lot of people, get all the information that he needs, also that he can get that sweet, sweet taste of witch puh. Because that's all he's basically doing it for his bastard niece. He just wants to plow. I've already been considering that for I don't know how long. That's the only reason that he's been going along with this for I don't know how long. Like, seriously, this is just an embarrassment. So, with that being the case for Agravain, now just trying to cement his final steps, even making sure that Arthur only believes him when the time comes to actually bring him to justice, that just leaves the stuff with Gwen's story, which is still the dumbest part of the whole series, and I will go into why, since I didn't really cover why it's so dumb in the Lancelot de Locke episode. Which is the fact that nobody was smart enough to think that for one teeny tiny moment that enchantment was the cause behind the breakup. That enchantment was behind the whole double cross. That no one decided to do the whole Uther method of trying to be discriminatory at the best moment. I don't say a lot of good things about Uther throughout the entire review series. Look at all the other Merlin Weekly reviews I've done. I've never said anything kind about Uther. But to use the Uther method in this whole thing of something's a little suspicious about how Lancelot came back after he gave himself up into the veil, because no one is supposed to come out of the veil, so something mystical has to be happening right now. And also, how come Gwen, who has never worn a lot of jewelry except her new ring, is now wearing this new fancy bracelet that just came out of nowhere? Where did this come from? How did this happen? Where did Lancelot even come from if we just do back checks through using different scouts and different knights to double check the story to get the facts straight? What is going on and happening here? And that makes Gwen's story the weakest part of it, even if it does make some beautiful moments. As such, this is why The Hunter's Heart is kind of like a mixed bag, where it shows a lot of the stronger points what made Series 4 great. Enough of a cathartic moment to make sure that you see that the evolution of the characters is happening, where you understand where Arthur is trying to act superior with Merlin, even though he trusts his judgment more than any other person in his entire kingdom. How he trusts everything that he does as an individual, and how he wants to go further and further on as a wise king with wise people in his court, in his stead. But he can't really trust Merlin openly because that would show weakness to the others that are higher above Merlin in stature. It also shows that Merlin is trying to go even further for Arthur to keep him on his destined path as his advisor, his protector, as well as his friend and brother in arms. And it shows a lot of different methods that trying to do that, where he's trying to be the mischievous one that keeps him from doing stuff that he will regret, as well as the agent of hope and prosperity for anything that's supposed to be deteriorating away from him the more he tries to go into the whole "I'm king, I can do whatever I want" shtick. Even if it does come at the cost of having the storyline of Agravain really outliving its usefulness and how stupid everything is supposed to be getting away with everything. Like how Agravain is suspiciously placing the blame on everyone for episode upon episode at a time. And then after being thwarted numerous times, no one's just like, how is it that you just happen to do all this stuff here? Let's actually go back, have a trial, and go over all the factors behind different agents that we can talk to, different guards on duty, different knights on duty, and piece together the fact that he is a conniving snake if we were to do stuff on a realistic level. And then we also have the weakest moments of the series that come from Gwen's story as a whole. Was it good to have Gwen be this character that wanted to go back to Camelot and at least warn Merlin to tell Arthur? Yes, it was good, but the cost of it is not as strong, not as prevalent into how useful it could have been, because they wasted material doing something that they could have done in earlier episodes to set things up in a stronger manner. If they were to have an actual love triangle that they really wanted to do to then have the climactic battle in one episode to then just be the setup, that would be one thing if it was built up over time rather than just being like, oh, you're in love with this girl. Oh, well, I guess I'll just back away, bro, because she loves you. Okay, I respect that. Okay, can you give your life for this man? I will. I give up my life for this man. And then just come back being like, I'm this undead agent. I will do whatever you say. Love this girl even though I used to be bros? I got you. Hey, baby. And then just all of a sudden deteriorate everything into a whole fucking mess like it's a teen drama that's supposed to be set in Canada. Got you, Degrassi. So that's basically where my whole mindset is with how the Hunter's Heart is kind of like the mixed bag. I want to like it more than I should, but I don't dislike it more than I possibly could as a cynic. As a viewer, I don't mind it because it's a good segue into the two-parter. As a critic, I find it problematic because it highlights both good and bad traits at its highest peak. As overall, you guys definitely need to see this episode through and through because it does in fact show that the more time has gone on with the series and the cast, more stuff has been included, more stuff has gotten stronger, more stuff has gotten more in depth, as it were. And I don't know. I can't really endorse this other than you have to do this as a completionist, but I will say this. I'll see you guys in September with the two-parter of The Sword and the Stone, which is the season 4 finale. I'm saying that now because I have a lot of work to do on multiple videos as is, and doing this on a weekly basis takes a lot of focus. And some stuff that has been going on in the background needs to be addressed in September anyway, so I'll see you guys in about 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be back, I promise.